Hello everyone, it's Moonman TV coming to another fantastic video, and today what I want to kind of cover are the recent changes that PlayStation kind of, made to their subscription services and PS Now. These changes are really revolutionary and just, I've been seeing it get a lot of hate on Twitter, and I'm going to kind of explain why, a lot of people are not fans of it and why some people are as well. But before we do that, if you could share this with your friends and drop me a like, that would really help out. And also, while you're at it, keep boosting towards that subscribe button because it really helps out the channel. And be sure to tick that bell. It really helps out. All right, with that out of the way, let's get this started. So I have the blog post right here for PlayStation. Now, I'm going to have it on screen while I talk about it. I'm not going to go over everything because, honestly, I think about a fourth of this is pretty much fluff. Just business jargon. There's nothing really important to it. But, yeah, let's pretty much go over it. So, I'm going to go over, the parts that I find the most important, and you can kind of judge that for yourself as I'm reading along. So, let's go first off. So, this new change to PlayStation, this will be a change happening in June, so basically this summer for PlayStation. Which is kind of cool. Alright, this summer is going to be kind of a new change for PS Plus and, PlayStation Now subscriptions, which is kind of cool. So, in about 3 months, we'll have a change. But that's really not where it's kind of people are upset. I'm going to get to that part. So, let's go over the tiers. There's about 3 of them, and I'm going to go over, the most basic one first. It's called PlayStation Plus Essential. So, what PlayStation Plus Essential is, pretty much, it's just the normal subscription service. It's the normal PlayStation thing that you've been paying, almost a decade for. $60 a year, $10 a month, nothing too major. Everything that you have been paying for up until now pretty much is still the same. Nothing has changed. So this tier, tier 1, essentially is not really any big change. Now, where people are very upset is with the second tier, and I completely understand where they're coming from. Now, PlayStation Plus Extra. So, okay, cool. PlayStation Plus Extra. That sounds really awesome. It does. With this tier, with tier 2, it has 400 games. It has 400 games, $8 to about $9 a month, and about $100 a year. So, basically, normal Game Pass on Xbox. That's why people are kind of, referencing this to Game Pass because it kind of sounds like it. But here's the kicker, unfortunately, and this is what's really upsetting. Of the 400 new games, it is only PlayStation 4 and PS5. So I'll repeat that again. PlayStation 4 and PS5 games only. So no PS3, no PS2, PS1, PSP, no legacy content, unfortunately. Which is kind of upsetting, honestly. You have to pay $100 a year for this, and there's no PS3. So I can't go up and, boot up Uncharted 2, Little Big Planet 2, Killzone 2. I can't do any of that. Kind of is a little upsetting, but, I really do feel like this is where, they really need to change, personally. But this is where it gets even worse, unfortunately. I really wish I were kidding, but there is another tier, PlayStation Plus Premium. So this tier is, at least for my math, about $10 to $15 a month, but it's for $140 a year. So that's a lot of money. So hopefully it has a lot. So it has 340 extra games. That's what it says, 340 extra games. And also, it has PS3, PS2, PS1, and PSP with cloud streaming. So essentially, it has the legacy content that we're after. But, again, here is the kicker. Here is the kicker. It does not say in the blog post or anywhere that I have looked that there is any form of list on what games will be on that, legacy list. Which is kind of upsetting. I really wanted to know the list, but yeah. This is something cool that I wasn't kind of expecting that they would do. Time-limited demos. So, say, for example, if, a game from, PS5 were to come out, say, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and it had a demo or something, you could play it early access, no problem, if you had this tier, which is kind of nice. So it's nice, you get some, like, limited access. That's cool. But that's really where my praise kind of goes for this. The tier 3, like, pretty much just really, and I'm sorry I keep calling it like that, like, you know how Twitch subscriptions are, but that's really how I kind of see it. I mean, this does not look good. Honestly, I can see why a lot of people are not happy about this news and why people are so upset about the lack of, like, legacy stuff like PS3 games. Because honestly, that was, like, one thing that, like, Sony messed up hard on, like, for PS5, is, like, no PS3 games. That was, like, one thing that they really messed up on, honestly. And that's where, like, Game Pass, like, just kind of just thrives. See, honestly, like, you know, they're trying to copy Game Pass, and honestly, you'd be blind to see if they're not trying to do that. But the reason that Game Pass works, and that's why, like, they copied the idea from Phil Spencer, is because of how well it worked. Game Pass saved Xbox. You can argue with me all you want on how, like, Xbox is still great, but you gotta admit, Game Pass was a great idea, and it absolutely saved Xbox. It really did. And that's why they're copying it, because, like, it's such a good system, and honestly, Phil Spencer's a genius for coming up with it. But yeah, pretty much, I'll just say this. When it comes to like the streaming or whatever with this game, like the cloud streaming, I find that really kind of ridiculous. I'm not very happy about it. I don't like the cloud streaming. I think emulators work 1,000 times better. If you don't know what an emulator is, essentially it's basically like the streaming, but you kind of take it off of like old computer code and whatever. Like, I used it with the Revenge of the Sith game from, like, PS2. Runs like a beaut. Runs, like, 60 frames, like, at the highest it can go. It runs amazing. But with cloud streaming, it's really, like, janky how it is on, like, PS Now. When I do Dark Souls 2, it looks horrible. So, I really hope that they kind of change that. I really wish that they would. But only time will tell. Now, one thing that I'm not happy about, and I know a lot of people aren't, is that there's no list for the, like, you know, legacy games. That I am not happy about. I really wanted Sony to, you know, just kind of say, like, what the list was for, essentially, the legacy stuff, which is honestly why most people honestly buy Game Pass. They really do. Most people buy that kind of stuff is just for the Game Pass, or just for the legacy kind of stuff, which honestly, let's be honest, the legacy stuff is really good. Like, Game Pass, you got all the Halos, all the Gears of Wars from 360, like, pretty much the goated games. You got Doritos Crash Course, Castle Crashers, like, the list goes on. Like, the absolute juggernauts from the 360 days, which is what people want to play, and that's why Game Pass is so revolutionary, and that's why, like, Sony's copying it. But honestly, I'm just gonna say this, and also, like, while I'm reading this post, they kind of do talk about, like, you know, it was a big change, like the guy who, I don't know his name, unfortunately, the guy who owns Sony, but, like, essentially, he goes over in, like, the great detail, like, how big of a deal it was, like, you know, when, like, PlayStation kind of went to PC, which honestly, yeah, that was kind of a big deal. I never thought it would happen in a million years, but it did, so anything can kind of change, so honestly, I hope it does. But yeah, I really want that list to come out, like, for the legacy games. Because if it's all going to just be, like, popular games like Killzone 2, as I mentioned before, for, like, PS3, then, like, you know, people who, like, want, like, you know, more obscure games are just going to just pretty much get the short end of the stick, unfortunately. Like, people who want, like, Final Fantasy IX or Xenoblade, yep, not gonna happen. Like, that's just really upsetting. Or people who would, like, you know, like, Terraria, or, like, Minecraft, like, PS3 edition. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. That's what I mean. I would love to see something like that. But, you know, I don't think it looks like that, unfortunately. I don't think so. I really do hope it does, but that's really the main reason why people are so salty on, like, pretty much forums and, like, the posts and all that. Because, like, yeah, like, we want the list. I really want to know the list of legacy games. And also, like, with PSP, dude, there's so many good games, same thing with PS2, that they could use. Like, they can use so much, because I'm gonna be honest, PS2 had some great games, like Killzone 1, like, the Battle for Bikini Bottom, the SpongeBob movie, the video game, like, so many good ones. That's what I mean, so many good games that they can use. And that's the thing about Legacy. Like, I will say, like, as much crap as you kind of give Microsoft now, like, even if you were not, like, a Microsoft fan, or if you were, you gotta admit that they're pretty much the only company that cares about Legacy stuff. Like, they really love their Legacy stuff. They really do. Which just kind of shows with Game Pass, and it really just shows, like, how it saved Xbox. Now, I will say this. PlayStation definitely has some better exclusives, definitely now. There's no denying it. Like Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, God of War, like, you can't even deny it. But I will say, that's not going to be, like, you know, a selling point on, like, why people should get your Game Pass. Really, what people want is the Legacy things, and honestly, I don't see why anyone would buy, like, the $140 tier unless, like, you know, they want to burn money, or pretty much just, you know, they just want to, because they're such a, like, Sony fan. Like, that's what I mean. That's the only reason I think they'd buy it, but nothing else. Nothing else, honestly. I personally feel like they really just need to tweak this system. They really do, because honestly, how it looks right now just doesn't look too promising. Like, I would not spend $140, and trust me, I am a person who loves burning through money with video games. I mean, like, just a personal tidbit about me. Bro, I bought Skyrim about 6 times. Like, just because I love that game so much. But it has a selling point because it's Skyrim. With this, it has no selling point. Yeah, the exclusives are great, especially, like, the PS4 and PS5 games. But, like, you know, what's the point of doing that when I can just get them on PC? Like, that's what I mean. There's just no point. Most of those, like, great exclusives, as I mentioned before, are on PC now, so it's like, why buy it when, you know, essentially I can get it on PC? You know, it just kind of seems redundant. This is how I would kind of fix it. Like, this is how I kind of fix it. I think this would, like, benefit every party. Just drop everything by $10. Like, okay, $140 is just ridiculous. Nobody's paying that. $140 a year is just way too much money. Like, it's just way too much money. There's no way that mom and pop are gonna be like, oh, Timmy, I'll get you the game. Or I'll get you the what's it called, subscription service for $140 a year. Yeah, okay, bud. No way. They're not gonna do that. So just drop it by like $10 or $20. I think that would be fine. Also, I don't know why they just don't do this. Because, like, PlayStation Plus Extra really is just Game Pass. This is what you do. Put PS3 on there. That's what you do. Put PS3 on the second tier, because there's no point in getting it unless you really are just like, you know, I just want more PS5 games in my library. That's pretty much the only reason you'd get it for, is just to have more games in your, like, PlayStation library. That's really it. But yeah, the third tier is obviously the most tantalizing tier, but it costs so much money, and that's what they want to do. They want to be like, oh, we'll give you the games, but you got to pay us $140, which is just kind of ridiculous money. Now, just to kind of, like, add this up, like, you know, in conventional senses, so pretty much, like, Hulu, Netflix, HBO, all those streaming services, say that's about, like, $50, $60 a month. Times that by 2, and basically you got, like, the 1 year, like, thing for pretty much PlayStation Plus Premium. And that's just in, like, 1 year, and that's pretty much right there. That's kind of ridiculous. I don't think anyone's paying that. And this is from the person who literally bought Skyrim 6 times. I'm not paying that. I know many people definitely will for, like, you know, Killzone 1 or, like, Final... Like, if those games were just given a list, like, I would actually buy it. But, again, since I have not gotten a list, I'm not gonna buy it. Because they're basically saying, like, oh, give us the money and we'll maybe give you what you want. So it's kind of shady. It's like EA. But yeah, I'm I'm probably dumb for this video because honestly, I think that's everything in like the post and everything that I read. If you did enjoy the video, please drop it a like. It really helps out. And have a good night or day whenever you're watching this, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.